Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Studio 78 podcast. I am your host, Nache from NacheSnow.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is episode 118. To find the show notes for this page, just head on over to NacheSnow.com/118. I hope this podcast finds you in good health. If it doesn't, I hope you feel better soon. I've got another amazing guest on today. I was going through my list of people that I wanted to interview and put on this fall. I wanted to make sure that I got someone who had a full-time job but was just starting a side hustle, because I think it is important for people to hear what it takes to start. Because sometimes people forget that after they've been in business for a while. And sometimes the start of a part-time business is a little different than a full-time one, right? Especially if you are trying to start a new business because you need to eat and pay bills, versus maybe if you have a part-time business that is just bringing you some extra cash. So, anyway, I have Chandra on today, and this year she decided to start her online shop on Etsy. She is a designer by trade, but she loves hand lettering and decided to put that skill to work and create inspirational quotes and sayings that she put on all different types of products that she now sells on Etsy. So definitely go support her. She's Big Girl Press. Whenever you're starting out, you need that love and support from the community to get that momentum. So if we can give her some momentum, that would be awesome. But anywho, on this episode today, we just talk about not only her research process and getting a mentor and some of her thought processes when it came to deciding on a printing company, but we also just focus on just believing in yourself, having that self-confidence to actually take action. Having that self confidence to not only take action to create the products that you want to sell, but to actually market it and tell people about it. And that does take a little moxie, right? Like it takes someone really believing that something can work and really putting forth the effort to put it out. And so we discuss a little bit of that along with just some practical advice. So I think regardless if you are just starting a business, thinking about business, or been in a business for a while, it's just a really fun conversation, lots of laughing, of course, just about the beginnings and the trials and errors that we've actually both been through when starting a business. So I hope you enjoy it. Of course, if you haven't already, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and rate me 5 stars. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up. And wherever you're listening, please hit that subscribe button. And of course, sharing is caring. If this episode resonates with you and you think it'll give somebody that push that they need, please share it on all the social media places, or share it via email, or share it wherever. Sharing is caring. And last but not least, to support the podcast, head on over to NacheSnow.com and hit that shop button. I've got all kind of digital goodies, a digital notebook. I got the Life Cleanse Journal in digital and hard copy form for people who are trying to just figure out their passion and get a little bit more focus in their life. And then I have some t-shirts over there too. So definitely check it out. And by the time you listen to this, and who knows when you're listening to this, I'll probably have some other goodies too. All right, enough of me. Let's get to Chandra. Here we go. Hello, Chandra. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Nache. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes. And you see, I even said it right.
You
Chandra, not
did.
Chandra.
You have, I mean, today I think my name got said incorrectly about like 5 or 6 times, and each time it was like an arrow to my soul.
And I know you probably get tired of being like, no, 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 it's Chandra.
Yeah, so I give up sometimes because if I'm the one who initiates and I say, "Hi, my name is Chandra," and then you follow up with, "Hi, Chandra," then you know what? Maybe you don't need to know me. Maybe we don't need to be friends.
You're like, you're not a good listener. You're not paying attention.
Exactly.
No, I get it. I mean, I've gotten like the weirdest things too. Nache, Nache, Nacho, all the things. But I'm just like, oh my god. Sometimes you feel like you take the time to correct it, and other times I'm like, I don't even have the mental energy. Yeah, what do you
Right.
want?
I don't have time to teach you. I'm not a teacher. I didn't go to school for that.
Like,
I
no.
wish you'd learn to read. Oh well.
And done.
And done. Exactly.
So I'm really excited to have you on. I've done a little intro for people, telling them about you and who you are. But if you could just, take a couple minutes just to tell the listeners just a little bit about you and your background.
Okay, I'm happy to do that. I'm a creative. It's what I've always been. It's what I've always wanted to do. So what do I mean when I say that? Ever since I was a kid, if I wasn't drawing something, I was writing a creative story or a poem. And I have the diaries and old marble composition books to prove it. Some of my most vivid memories have to do with art. I'm the youngest of 4 girls, and I have one sister that's 1 year, 3 months, and 5 days older than I am. And even though we were pretty much best friends, we were also best enemies and would
Mm.
fight. We would like physically fight, throw punches. Really, she threw the punches. I would scratch. I would scratch her. I would draw blood. And then we'd both pull hair, like whatever it took to prove the point of who was gonna win. We were all in. You could put us in a boxing ring. Anyway, the
Mm.
worst part about it was she was stronger than me, and so so I, I
Not
lost
good.
about not good. I lost about every fight, and I was usually running away to get out of range of her fists. And there was this one time where I had to concede defeat again, and I was
Mm.
so livid. I was so mad that I ran upstairs to my bedroom and I picked up the first thing that I saw and I threw it against the wall. And unfortunately, that thing was this really cool art box I
Mm.
loved that I'd gotten for Christmas. And
Oh.
I was defeated. I went from I went from being pissed at my sister for kicking my butt to being angry at myself for destroying something that I enjoyed, like my art. And it was just a
Right.
box. It was just a box that held my art supplies. So that shows how deep it goes when it comes to my art. Lesson learned. It doesn't matter how mad people make you. Um, don't let it stand in the way of what matters to you, because when you do, that trash hurts.
It's like, but no, that's when things just start to happen in slow motion, and you're like,
And it,
no.
you can't take it back. I could not take it back. I tried my best to put it back together, but it was a wreck. It was over. And that was just one part. So that's the like more of the fine art side of me, right? How deep that goes. But then there's another part of me that runs deep, and that's the writing piece.
Mm,
And I talked a little bit about creative writing and writing poems, but it's not just that. It's just like the act of writing, right? Of
mm,
writing words that
mhm,
I have always enjoyed. And one of the things that I think must have just awoken that in me was my dad's signature.
mm.
And I thought it was just gorgeous. I don't know who that man is or was in his past life, but he has one of the most amazing signatures. As a young person, I would literally practice writing his signature, just constantly practice writing it, and then applying that same style to how I signed my own name. And then
Mm.
Yeah, and eventually it just got to this point where it was hard to distinguish my signature from my
I know he's
father.
like, wait a minute, are you trying to use my credit card?
And see, that's where I fail again because I never thought, hey, you know what? I could actually use this power for
Right.
to do things for me. I didn't. I was just, you know what? It'd be really cool if I just had my dad's signature. I never thought to forge a check or make my grade better. Like just, just hashtag regrets.
Right. You're just like, I just wanted to know how to do beautiful hand lettering, right?
Right.
Calligraphy. And you probably didn't even know that at that time. Like
I
calligraphy and hand lettering, that wasn't even, it was probably like a thing, but not a thing you know about as a child.
It's not. It's not. It was just beautiful art in my mind. And so all those things, it just for me at least, it just shows how art and creating has always been at the center of my life, even just growing up, going with my parents to family days at their job. I knew that I wanted to do art there at their job.
Mm.
And when it came to school, I did want to do art school. My parents said, "No, young lady, you will do a liberal arts education." So I had to nix the idea of going to art school, and I chose a regular liberal arts school. But I did study art studio in
Mm.
college, and it gave me that wave tops experience where you got to do printmaking, some, if I remember correctly, some general typography, actually drawing out the letter using some type of type form. So if I chose Times New Roman or Arial, and then cutting it out with an X-Acto blade and then mounting it on foam board and showing my teacher how good of a job I did.
Yeah.
I don't know really today what value that brings, but I can tell you it did help me. It did create a deeper appreciation of type in general. But yeah, so anything and everything I could get my hands on when it came to doing art and design in school, I did. And then I carried that into my work for several years, almost, gee whiz, almost 2 decades. I did something related to art, whether it was supporting from a graphic design in a graphic design role or leading a design team. So that's what and then I go home and that's what I do at home. So it it's me, it's what I do.
So we fast forward today.
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm having you on the podcast is because I was
Mhm.
like, oh, what is this? What is this big girl press going on? Right.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing, and I forgot how long ago you started, but I remember seeing posts initially, even before you got to the name Big Girl Press, where
Right.
you were beginning to experiment with hand lettering and posting it on Instagram. And I just
Yes.
saw how it just continued to evolve over time. So, my question to you is, what made you decide to take that love for calligraphy and hand lettering and then turn it into a business that you now do on nights and weekends?
That's a great question. And that's something that I'd always wanted to do. So it was one of those secret dreams of mine to to find some way to share my voice with the world. And I know I sound nerdy and I get silly about it, but really it really was. I didn't know if I was going to work for a Hallmark one day or if I was going to work for some magazine. Neither of those dreams came true, but I knew that I wanted to find some way to take those things that I loved, sharing words, writing words, and paper. I
Mm.
didn't say that before, but I love paper.
Oh, I love
So
me some paper too.
I love it. It smells good. It feels good. I have too much of it hoarded in my closet here at
Oh,
home.
it can get, yeah, it's like a slippery slope. Like,
Let me just take a break real quick and say I used to order samples from like places like Nina Paper Company.
oh
Just
yeah.
Yes, just to have the samples. I wasn't gonna do anything with it. I just wanted to know that I had them.
Well,
Uh,
that's like all those design conferences too. I think
yes,
I still have some of those paper books and I have a special
too.
little basket. And I'm like, why? Even after I moved, I'm like, why are you keeping this little basket of paper samples? And I'm like,
Right.
because I love them.
If I could hug them, I would. So just looking, I'm actually scrolling through my little Instagram account right now, and it was really just falling back in love. I was actually getting some quiet time, and I was using that quiet time to really start playing around and exploring how I
Mhm.
lettered in the different styles. Looking back, I can see actually how I went from a more calligraphic style to
Mhm.
today, which is a little bit more bold in terms of the look and feel.
Mm.
It really was really just falling in love with this, with something that I loved so much, and then wanting to share it with people. And at the beginning, it really was just personal,
Mm.
writing different words and letters. And then I said, you know what? I really do want to share this. I really do want to find different ways to communicate different messages of inspiration, of hope, of empowerment with people, because I saw that as I heard certain words, whether it's listening to a podcast like this or watching some wonderful documentary or movie or reading a verse in the Bible, I realized that I wanted to, and I wanted others to hear that, hear those words, and feel them the same way I did. And so that's what
Mm.
it grew into over time. It grew from practice and exploration into wanting others to benefit from and grow from those same things that were helping me to grow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it completely makes sense. And it's interesting because with doing this, there's
Mhm.
two paths where you can be like, "Oh, I'm just going to continue to do it. I'm going to share these positive messages using hand lettering and I'll share it on like Instagram or Facebook and what have you." And that's that, right?
Right.
But but no, you were like, well, maybe I'll turn these into stickers and create like a shop. So, what made you decide to not just share it, but actually give people the opportunity to have these stickers and use them on whatever in their journal or on their laptop or what have you, because that's like a commitment, right? Because now you have to
Yeah.
fulfill
Yeah.
orders, you have to check your email to see if somebody's
Ugh.
purchased something. It's a
Yes.
whole thing.
It is a whole thing, and nobody told me it was this whole thing. I'm like, I'm just trying to print stickers to make people feel good, and I'm just trying to do some digital prints. Can't y'all just like, why does it have to be so hard? But the first time I made the stickers, they were just for me. It was a
Mhm.
personal thing, and I wanted to show them off to people. Hey guys, look what I just did. And then I did want to share them out, maybe see what it was like to sell them. And to be honest with you, I think I've only posted maybe 1 or 2 for sale,
Mhm.
and then the rest of them, it's so bad. The rest of them are ready to go in a
Mm.
in a drawer in
Mm.
my dining room. I had to admit,
Mm.
it's so bad, and they are printed, they are cut, they are ready to ship. I'm not
Mm.
even kidding. I have all the packaging ready to go. I have
What's going on?
I am sad example. No, I'm actually gonna do it. I'm actually gonna do it. I promised myself that I would because I keep looking at them and saying, what do I need like 30, 40 of the same stickers for? If I didn't do these for me and if I did these for other people, why am I hoarding them?
Mhm.
Why am I keeping this to myself? And it's so funny. I'm the first one to tell people, especially young people, look, don't hide your light under a bushel. Share your talents with the world. And I'm the first one to like hide it away in a drawer.
It's like this is collecting dust.
Thankfully, I have people like you in my world, people like my friend Britt, and even people that I've brought into my life to challenge me as well. And I just want to tell a quick story. Since it's COVID, there's a lot of time to learn new things. I
Mm-hmm.
decided to join a webinar. This woman, Nancy Duyon, she was teaching an amazing webinar on branding and just getting your brand in order. And I saw that one of the folks attending, he was an illustrator, or he is an illustrator. And I said, you know what? I think I'm about to do something I've never done before. I think I'm about to cold call somebody and just ask them to be my friend. And so after her webinar, I reached out to him directly and I was just like, "Hey, I see that you're an illustrator. This is what I do. Would love to chat." And he was receptive. What? You
Right.
out there, and sometimes people are receptive.
They are.
So they are. And ever since then, he's kind of played this mentor role, but also this role of somebody who will push you off of a cliff. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you're afraid to jump, he's that one that says, "What's stopping you?
Yeah. I
What is it that?"
mean, because sometimes you do just have to jump. It's a little scary, but you'll get up. It'll be fine because we can't just stay still.
No, you're so right. And a question that I actually just wrote down the other week was, "What's the worst that can happen?"
Exactly. I
Really,
love that. I say that to people all the time because a lot of times people are even like how you said, you just asked them. The worst that
Yeah.
could have happened is he said no.
Right. Or not respond at all and just be crickets.
And that's not the end of the world.
It really isn't, because I can just go harass people like you and my and my friend Britton say, "Hey guys, look, I'm gonna just have to keep on bothering you over and over again and ask for advice on how to do things." Because there are people, again, that are ready and willing to help you be your best self.
For sure. I
Right. And
love
so
it.
I think that's what's helped me. And it's actually helping me to have the backbone to just, you know what, take pictures of my darn stickers and post them
Hmm.
and sell them on Etsy, whatever.
I mean, so for the audience out there, or shall I say the listeners, I always think I'm like Oprah or something. Hey, people. In the studio. By the time this airs, I think she's
Yeah.
pretty much committing to having her stickers in her shop.
Did I just say that? Steve,
She didn't say that, but
I
that's what
am.
I think
I
she's
am committing.
implying.
I am implying I have a very open weekend. I honestly have nothing to do but become a better version of myself. So I might as well post some dang stickers to Etsy.
Oh my goodness. Now, let me ask you a question because I think one thing that people have to overcome is figuring out how to do the thing. And of course, you have stickers, but you also have some t shirts and some mugs and some
Yeah.
prints in there. So, when you decided, okay, I think I'm going to open up an Etsy shop, what was your process as far as like how you were going to get the stickers made, who you were going to choose to create some of the products that are on demand? I'm assuming, like, how did you figure that all out?
So I will say that it's been a years long process in terms of trying to figure out whose product I like the best.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I used to use Moo when it came to business cards. And I think that was because you told me
Mm,
years ago about Moo, and I
mm-hmm.
loved them. And I don't know if it was you or somebody else who told me about Sticker Mule, but I
Yeah.
actually, yeah. And so I started using them just to do, small little things for myself. Hey, I just want to do a test print. I want to make a sticker, see what happens. And just through exploring and getting samples, that's how I ended up using Sticker Mule mainly to do the stickers. Of course, that leaves it in my hands to do the packaging and delivery because I don't believe they have a print on demand service. Correct me if I'm
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Please,
No,
God,
you're
correct me if
correct.
I'm
You're
wrong.
correct.
I, I hope they hear this and change that.
Right.
Because if I could make it easier, I would. When it comes to the mugs and the t shirts, I go through suggested ones. by asking people like
Mm.
you who I know have already done it. Asking that friend that I met on the webinar, his name is Leif. He's an amazing illustrator. Look him up, Leif Taylor on Instagram. He also gets stickers and things made. And so he provided a list, an Excel spreadsheet of all of the different on demand services that he likes. So I looked at that and looked for those common threads. Who does everybody seem to prefer?
Mm.
And I went with that. And then on the other side of it is the digital side. And I've always wanted to try out the digital stuff. And it's a little bit easier than having to find who can give you the best product. It really is on you to create the best product and test it out to make sure whoever is downloading it gets the best of your work. And so
Hmm.
that for me, actually, I think is the most enjoyable just because I don't have to worry about a third party.
Yeah, I know. It's like all of the decisions that go into this is like crazy pants. For those of you guys out there who follow me, I did an experiment and I decided to do the shop arm of my website using Squarespace, which almost killed me because literally like almost died because I'm so used to WordPress and Shopify, right? But I
Right.
always recommend Squarespace. So I was like, I need to at least try it out. And I think
Mhm.
it is great. A lot of people I know love it and swear by it. It was just like hard for me because I just wasn't familiar with it. It's just
Yeah.
like learning a new development language. But
Right.
anywho, I only mention that because when I decided to do Squarespace, little did I know on Shopify, I used to use what is it, Printful, and
Yeah.
that doesn't work with Squarespace. Only Printify works with Squarespace. Or no, I think it's maybe, don't quote me on this, people. Maybe it's Printful does work with Squarespace, but during COVID, Printful was backed up, which is why I ended up
Yes, it
doing an
was.
Etsy shop and using Printify
Hmm.
instead because they were still delivering during COVID, which kind of created this weird scenario where I have a Squarespace site, but to buy some of the products, you have to go over to Etsy. But I'm like, hey, if people love it, they'll be committed. They know they can buy some stuff on the website and some stuff on
Right.
Etsy, right? But I
Right.
mean, but all of those types of things have to be factored in. The quality of the product, are they able to kind of ship during a pandemic? Because even with stickers, for example, Society 6 does print them on demand, but I
Hmm.
don't think the quality of their stickers are going to be as good as Sticker Mule. So
It's
is it more important that you don't have to ship them, or is it more important that your stickers are like beautiful, shiny, and perfect? So, I mean, oh my goodness, there's just so much kind of research and I feel like trial and error that goes into these type of decisions.
I love that you said that too, because when you do a test print or you make the mistake like I did of selling it before you do the test print, and then you do the test print and find out, oh my gosh, this is a piece of trash. I cannot believe I sold this. Let me take this down from my Etsy shop because, oh my goodness, now I'm messing with my brand, right?
Right?
I'm messing with people's experience of me. They're going to talk trash about me in the streets.
Right.
So it is really important to find the right provider. And you're right. Sometimes it is worth it. It is more worth it to take care of yourself in some cases.
In some cases, and I always get wherever, especially if I'm doing on demand tests like a product. I have a test
Yes.
product sent to me just so
Hmm.
I can make sure I love the shirt or the feel of the shirt or the mug, whatever it is. I'm like, I need to see it before I put it up there because you're right. If come to find out the product is total trash, then then you're going to get bad reviews or people won't order from you again. So you really do have to do your due diligence. And that's not to say things aren't going to happen, but you have to do your best.
Right. And then you have to, if you find out that they got some trash in the mail, you have to find a way to make it right. I remember
Right.
one of my sisters, and your family doesn't, they're not supposed to judge you, but my sister got a t-shirt, one of my first t-shirts, and I realized that I set it up the wrong way, but had already allowed her to purchase it. And she was like, no, it's good the way it is. And I'm like, love does not replace my brand. So what I did was I went ahead and I purchased another shirt and I sent it to her. And she was annoyed that I did it. She was like, "Calm down, Chandra." But,
But it
you know,
is about your brand, right?
about
As
my
she's
brand.
wearing it, you want it to be how it should be.
Exactly. I don't care for blood. You're representing me, homie. So, yeah, I had to send her a brand new shirt. And I hope I sent the right one. I forgot to ask her to take a picture. But my goal is to make sure the customer is satisfied and to
Sure.
make sure, yeah, because I don't want anybody to walk away unhappy.
You figure out like the what companies you want to use initially,
Yeah.
give them a try. But part of that decision is the cost of the product. So for you, just starting your shop out, how did you determine what made sense and what are your goals for like sales this year?
I like that you said that because doing the print on demand, they have the default prices set up. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let them determine my worth. And then I saw what happened when I allowed somebody to determine my worth and realized that I don't like that. So I have some adjustments to make, but what it also did was open my eyes to do a little bit more on the digital side,
Hmm.
just because the effort is still there, but the costs are so much lower. I feel like I can pocket more. It might not be a lot upfront when it comes to profit,
Hmm.
but hopefully I can price it in such a way where and advertise and market my work in such a way where more people will purchase my digital artwork, and it'll all end up happy in the end. So my goal isn't necessarily to make a certain amount, but it is to start producing more digital artwork, digitally downloadable artwork.
No, that makes sense. And it's interesting for the listeners out there. It's like everybody has like different goals. And even when I think about myself, I've had different goals through the years. Years ago, my main goal was, oh my goodness, I needed to get out of debt. And so I was like, I need to make money. Like my goal was like, I need to make some cash. And then
Yes.
after I got out of debt, I was like, okay, well, my goal is to save money. And then I had a goal where I was like, my goal is to travel more. And then I've had some years where I'm like, my goal isn't really to make money to do a certain thing, but I just really want to focus on building a brand. But I do want to at least break even. You do have different goals at different stages and at different points. One thing I have learned is you do have to make sure that you price things right. And even
Yes.
after doing things wholesale, even with the creative route stuff, I learned if you don't, you will lose money, you know? And so you, even though it feels like weird and icky up front to like maybe price something a little higher, if you don't do it when you calculate the materials and the time and all the things, like you're really just making stuff for free.
No, it
And you
is
don't
so
want to do that,
true.
right? So it's very tricky. Yeah. That
Yeah, you have to value your work because
yeah.
if you don't, nobody else will. People are always ready for a discount. And
Yes.
I learned that so many times over and over again when, a friend or a friend's cousin wanted me to do wedding invitations or a business card or something. And I'd say, hey, yeah, this is my price. It's this much per hour or it's this flat rate. And they'd be like, yes, can I get a discount? And sometimes I would say yes because I just wanted the work or I just wanted to get the money. And
Right.
then afterwards, it ended up being the worst experience because not
Always.
only always because not only did they ask for the discount, they had all the edits and took all the liberties in the world when it came to trying to get their perfect product. So
Right.
they wanted perfection, but they didn't want to pay for it. And
Yeah.
I've learned, especially from my father who worked in contracts for his
Mm.
career, he took me through that itemized list. He was like, "You have a lamp. Are you using your lamp?" He was to that itemized list of things that we use to produce something of value. And
Mm.
so again, we don't want to shortchange ourselves just to make somebody else feel like they got some discount. They should walk away and they should walk away feeling like they got what they paid for. And if it's cheap, dot, 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 you know?
Right. Yes. Well, before I get to the wrap up questions, now that you've started this business and you're like filling it out and seeing where it goes, someone else who is maybe in a stage where they have an idea, but they're not sure if they should do it, do you have any like tips or lessons learned that you just want to pass on that might help somebody that was in the stage you were in a year ago?
I say do it. If there's something, really, if there's something that's eating away at you, face that thing. Just do it. One of the things that I realized about myself, and if you look at my Instagram page right now, you'll see I haven't posted anything in a while. And that's just because I've been taking a break to explore internally. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there's this thing that just like eats away at my soul, right?
Yeah.
Something that if I don't do something about it, I think I'll go crazy. It is just pouring out of me. It just wants to pour out of me. And when those things happen, I just have to do it. I have to put pen to paper and draw. And so if you have something like that going on with you, if it's drawing, some type of creativity, and it doesn't matter what kind it is, just do it. Bite the bullet and do it. Another thing I would definitely say is surround yourself with other like-minded people who are driven to do more, right?
Mm.
And to not only make themselves better, but make the people around them better. Because there's always negative people. We have plenty of those to go around, but sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to find those positive people. I mentioned that gentleman, Leif Taylor. I consider him a creative mentor. He brought me into almost, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but a mastermind.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we had these mastermind meetings, and he and I and a couple of other creatives, I think 3 other creatives, we got together, and they were from different states. They had different creative backgrounds. One was more of a textile person, one was more of a model and a hair model. Another was a more interactive media producer, and I'm more on the lettering side. So you see, it was just like this great mix of
Mm-hmm.
people, but we all came together and we committed to each other and to ourselves that we would do, this on this day, and then
Mm-hmm.
come back together and hold each other accountable, right? So surround yourselves with people that will challenge you and that will help you grow. And then I'll say, don't allow just negative thoughts to get in your way. It's really easy to allow that to happen. I'm the worst when it comes to that. I'm the first one that'll be like, you know what, you suck. You're horrible. Who made you? Right?
Where'd
I'm
you come
where did you come from? Go back.
from?
I'm the worst when it comes to that, right? So I'm the first one that can say, don't do that, because, and I'll give this Bible verse, but it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So when we put that negative stuff into our heads, we become that like negative thing, that defeated thing. And so when we put that positive stuff into our heads, those positive words and those positive images, like I can do great things, I am more, I am worthy, I am fearless, then we can be more and we can be worthy and we can be fearless. And again, we can put that pen to paper and do some stinking amazing things. So it's about being positive, surrounding yourself with challenging people, positive people, and then just again, just going out and doing it and being fearless about putting our talent out there.
I love it. I love all of it.
Hey.
Okay. So, a couple of wrap up questions.
Yeah.
The first question is, how do you stay organized? Any tools, software, or techniques you want to share?
Oh, that is a good question. So I've actually started really enjoying my Google Calendar,
Yeah.
starting to put everything on there. Everything gets uploaded there, and it helps me just keep track of my day. And if I forget to sync anything to my Google Calendar, I am lost for hours.
Like, what's going on? Who am I? Where am
I
I supposed to be?
right. What is this? Why are you here? Oh, we had a meeting. I'm sorry. Sticky notes. I am classic when it comes to that. I'm very traditional. I'm all about the sticky notes and I put them in my purse. If you look at my purse right now, there's about 5 or 6 new sticky notes that I put in today after. So I'm all about the traditional stuff, but then I also try to pay attention to other people's advice. I'm like blowing you up here because I really did enjoy your awesome Skillshare class. Organized. I sat there and I was like, well, how I'm ashamed because I really don't want to know what I did for all it. But it really is a good thing to do an audit of your day and figure out where you're wasting time and when you're most productive, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that balance. So I think, but first and foremost, it's definitely the Google Calendar.
Ooh, love it. Concur. Check. And do you have a hobby? Is it
Ooh,
lettering or do you have something else where you're like, no, this is my hobby?
lettering is my main hobby, but I also like interior design.
Mm?
Being married, that's a little bit more difficult to do because other people have other, but when I was single and loving it, I could do
You're like, my house was the bomb.
right. I had color. It was cozy. And that was like a cold. No, I'm kidding. It's not cold. It's just like you have to find compromise. And so I'm actually learning how to be a little bit more creative within the constraints. So interior design and then food, like eating it and cooking it is a major hobby of mine, especially when it comes to charcuterie plates and chocolate chip cookies.
Mm.
Yes.
And then this is like a little surprise question. I got it when I put out a call on Instagram. I was like, hey, what do you all want me to ask? And one of the questions I got, I thought was like a really good question to throw out to
Hmm.
some of the people was, how are you going to build your community?
Oh, I love this. So I really do because, and it's so funny that you're asking this question because I love having little groups. And I was listening to a podcast about being a citizen or citizening, if you
Mm,
can make that into a word. And one of the things that they offered up, one of the pieces of advice that they offered up was build a community.
mm,
And
mm-hmm.
right now, I started a book club with some girlfriends. Well, one of them's the sister that used to beat me up. And keep your friends close, keep your enemies close.
Right.
So I have a little book club, and one of the members is my sister. But I also want to bring back this old, I called it the Maker's Make thing. And it was something that we would do. It was once a month. And a whole bunch of women that I knew, we would get together at some bar or restaurant and we would bring a craft. And
Mm.
that's what we would do. We would just spend brunch crafting, having a cocktail and eating burgers, and that's what we
Oh, yeah,
did.
I remember that. Because, yeah,
Makers,
yes, yes, yes.
yes, crafts and cocktails. I even made a little logo for it with my lettering. I love that stuff. But I really want to get back to that because there was just something about being with people making different things. And I'm sure that's how you felt at Craftcation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's I want to be part of or create a creative community.
Well, maybe like you can even initially, since we're still in this pandemic, do it virtually too, where you have 6 people or 7 people and everybody's chit chatting, but you can see the projects they're working on online and just a good, fun activity for people to get together on Saturday morning or Saturday night and just see all the cool stuff people are making. So I love that you're bringing that back or bringing
Yes,
that sense of community back. Yeah.
I'm excited. I
Hmm.
guess I have to also be accountable for that too. Dang it.
Yep. So, yes, people, if you want to sign up or you're interested, she's about to tell you where she can be found.
So much pressure.
I know, right?
Well, Nache, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that intro. I can be found at Big Girl Press. So BIGGIRLPRESS. and that's on Instagram. And from Instagram, actually, you can get to all of my other links to my little portfolio page that I'm still working on, and I hope I can make it as beautiful as other websites I've seen. Hint. Um, but Big Girl Press, I'm using that as my landing page for right now as I develop out other projects.
Yes, and that'll link you to her shop on Etsy,
That's
and
right.
you will see the stickers. And so if you want to help her reduce the number of beautiful stickers that she has in her drawer, please support this new shop.
I thought we'd already moved on from that. We didn't move on from that. Yes, please help me, guys. Please help me be a better person. Help me help you feel better.
Well, perfect. Everything will definitely be in the show notes, all the links, all the good stuff. Thank you so much for coming on and just sharing your story and sharing like the beginning of this journey.
Thank you, Nache, for having me. This was so fun. I really enjoyed it.
Wow, so what did you guys think of that episode? Wasn't she absolutely amazing? I had such a good time talking to her. Please go over and support her over at Big Girl Press. Find her on Etsy. Purchase a sticker, it's only a couple bucks. Support small businesses, especially new ones that are coming out, especially when they're amazing. Her lettering is awesome. Anyway, we mentioned in this episode Sticker Mule, but some people are avoiding Sticker Mule for various reasons. So if you're not a Sticker Mule fan, another one that I have found online is called Sticker App, and that one actually, regardless of the Sticker Mule controversy, Sticker App I think is rated a little bit higher than them amongst creatives. Sticker Giant is another one that is highly recommended, and I also saw that someone recommended Vinyl Disorder. So just wanted to make sure I provided you guys with several sticker sites to use just in case you are thinking about starting a sticker business. The biggest takeaway that I want you all to get from this episode is to believe in yourself. If you have that idea, just do it. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just start. Get a response from people, see what's working and what's not working, and then continue to push it forward. Don't get discouraged if it doesn't get the momentum you want initially. It takes time, patience, and persistence, but you have to at least get started. So please, please, please do that. And if you start a business, tell me about it. Shoot me an email, shoot me a DM message on Instagram. I love, love, love hearing your stories. Anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing day or night. And please, if you haven't already, rate me 5 stars or give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening. And if you want a little assistance with productivity, head on over to nachesnow.com and check out my shop. I have all the things. And when you go over, there's going to be a pop up to get 2 months free of Skillshare so you can even take the course that Chandra talked about. And you can go there directly, nachesnow.com/Skillshare if you like. But I am all about helping you figure out how to get more time back to do the things you love, your passion. All right. So, anyway, until next week, and of course, yes, I have another amazing guest. All right. Take care. Bye.